Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the first Well Chat where we are going to be talking about Devi, Leadcraft, and everything between. Please make sure you share the link with everyone on your X account and also make sure you let your friends on Telegram. Tell them that we're live. We are going to be inviting some of the wells to be talking about Devi. We're going to be asking them questions why they decided to invest in Devi, and also about the future of Devi. As we all know, Devi is a layer one blockchain that allows 8 million transactions per second, which right now you are talking about the fastest blockchain in the industry. We welcome Mr. Diamond Hands to join us as speakers. Also, we have Austin. If you are out there, Austin.
What's happening, guys? Am I coming through?
Perfect. You are coming clear. Diamond Hands will be joining us in a little bit.
Let me apologize up front. I can only stay for about 25 minutes. I have an appointment.
Perfect. So why don't we start with you then? Let's just ask you a few questions about what do you find unique about Devi, and why did you decide to invest in Devi? And we're just gonna accelerate a little bit since you have to leave in a few minutes. So all yours, Austin.
Sure. All right. Not like putting me on the spot. Thanks, Roger. I appreciate it, buddy. So honestly, if you would have asked me a year ago to take a look at this project, I don't know that I would have had the same response that I had today. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, for a while, every layer one was kind of riding on the low fees, fast transaction confirmation, fast finality, things like that. But as the layer one wars heated up, and now you've got just, dozens of various layer ones out there, the narrative of fast and cheap really doesn't apply any longer. And pretty much every single one of them is gunning for the exact same market. I mean, they say they're gunning for the Web 2 market, but you look at chains like some of your chains that maybe get the biggest Web 2 companies to participate in them, like Polygon. A big part of that is, Polygon incentivizing these companies to come over and use their chain because it's a great, marketing tactic and things of that nature. With Devi specifically, and I don't want to really get into the architecture mainly because I'm not a dev, but if you even read about it a little bit, you know that it's a very, very fast chain. They use different sharding techniques to present horizontal scaling, which is, they give that figure of 8 billion transactions per second. That's really not the selling point, but they could probably even go more than that, when they just continue to release these horizontal shards. But really where they're targeting, and the thing that a year ago would have turned me off, but today kind of turns me on, is they're almost what you would call a permission chain. They're not almost what you would call a permission chain. They're a permission chain. And the reason that they're going about that is they want to target the folks that want to use the blockchain, but they want to do it in a regulatory compliant way. Maybe they don't even want to, they have to, right, because of whatever laws they're living under. And that's a unique market that is, for all intents and purposes, much more massive than, let's say, the DeFi market, which is what most of your chains are targeting these days, right? That's a smaller pool that everyone's pulling from, whereas Devi showed up and they said, look, we don't even want to pluck from your pool. We're going to go to the big pool. And that, a year ago, I would have said that maybe that was against the ethos of crypto, right? In crypto we have open source and anyone can build and blah, blah, blah. Of course, scams run rampant as a result of that. But today, sitting here talking to you guys, learning what I've learned about Devi, learning what I've learned about the team, ascertaining as much as I can about the future plans, even though a lot of the stuff they can't talk about, I think they're targeting a market that is, significantly bigger they're not pulling from the same pool that the rest of crypto is pulling from, which on the one hand, maybe that would be a negative because they're going to have to work a little bit harder for the marketing aspect. But on the other hand, the future potential is much, much bigger. But on the other side of that, you've got they're the only chain with this RESTful API. And I'm not going to get too far into that, but most people that have been around for a while, you understand the acronym API, Automated Programming Interface. And it's just essentially a way for essentially any application to plug into the chain. I haven't seen it in practice. I'm not a developer, so I can't speak intelligently to you about it. But what I can say is if what they say is true, and it operates in the way that they say it's going to operate, and if you listen to the podcast with...
Are you there? Hello? Can someone, are you guys listening?
Are we back?
We are back. I mean, we got.
All right, we're gonna keep going. But if you listen to them,
we got a little bit of background noise. Hold on for a second. Go ahead. I think someone was with their speaker on. Are you there, Austin?
hi, how are we doing? We're gonna keep going.
We're back now. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, man. Someone that was invited as a guest.
Come through you. Anyhow, if we look at that, right, and those guys said anyone that's building in Web 2 essentially is building on Devve. That's a huge statement, a very, very huge statement. So if that turns out to be true, and that's a big if, right? These guys have a lot of delivering to do before they're going to measure up to the big boys like Solana or your other major core layer ones. I think there's huge potential. And really that was the reason that I jumped in, because the world is moving in a different direction, right? Up until now, we've had this beautiful playground of crypto. We've just been partying on various chains, yield surfing, whatever the case may be. Today, right, things are changing. And, various governments around the world, they want to get involved. Tons of your, let's say, top, we'll call them Fortune 100 companies, probably a lot more close to the top than that, want to get involved in this. They have to do it in a particularly compliant way, maybe because of the data they want to store on the blockchain, or maybe because of just the application that they want to use it in. And Devve seems to have thought of all the pieces that these companies need to be able to do that all the way down to the API, which, again, not a developer, but that just seems like such a no-brainer. I'm confused as to why nobody else has done it, right? So that's really my question. Maybe you can answer that for me, Roger, but that's my story.
Well, one of the things I think is unique about Devve is the fact that it's taking a different approach. Think about let's just go back 7 years, the last 7 years of blockchain history, okay? Back then, even though we always talk about regulation, but regulation really never got involved, okay? So now we're in a different era. This is an evolution of what I think, back then when this blockchain started, and then there was literally no rules. It was the Wild Wild West, right? And now we see the results of that lack of regulation, of lack of interest. Like, CC just got 4 months that he's gonna have to be serving for, all the issues that the authorities believe Binance and himself did. And even on one of the tweets that he posted no long ago, he mentioned that, now we have to protect the users. We have to kind of follow the rules, right? So what I like about Devve is taking advantage of all the mistakes of all these blockchains that came out in the last 7 years, and they're doing things better, okay? Regulation is going to play a very important role in this new evolution, okay? Now you have to follow the rules. You have to, be in compliance. And now we're talking about, Ethereum. It's actually, I don't know if they already sued them or not, but Maybe you can correct me on that, but I think they're in trouble right now. So you're talking about Ethereum, which we all know is slow, is expensive, but it's very dangerous too. Okay, interacting with the contract in Ethereum, it can be dangerous, especially for those that are new in crypto. And that's something that Devi solves, because any contract that is going to come into Devi, any user that will be using Devi is going to have to do KYC, KYB, know your customer, know your business. And that's going to be very important for the future, okay? Think about governments, okay? Think about financial institutions, insurance companies, medical, you know, everything between needs some type of supervision. You gotta have regulation in place, okay? Even though we don't like it, we're as a cryptos enthusiast, we have the flag that, okay, financial freedom, we don't care about governments, and then we want to live free and do whatever we want. But in reality, that's not going to happen. I mean, governments are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. Okay, banks are here to stay. They're just going to adapt. So the question that I'm going to ask you guys, just to think about this: if you're a financial institution, let's say you're a bank, okay, and you want to start using blockchain into your applications because of the transparency, because of all the solutions that blockchain offers, would you go out there and build on Ethereum? Would you go out there and build on Solana? Probably not, okay? You're gonna look for a solution that, it's gonna protect the users, just like CC mentioned not long ago on his tweet, and protect the data, and actually have a little bit of, or, probably a lot of supervision. And that's just something that we have to accept as a crypto, users, and those that love blockchain and understands blockchain. This is something we cannot stay away from it. So what are your thoughts about this, Austin?
So this is interesting. I think we're kind of in the midst of like an interesting experiment here. And I call it an experiment just because it's an experiment for me. It's probably not an experiment for the Devve guys because they've been planning this for years. But, we can always, so obviously regulation is coming, and obviously the total serviceable market outside of the crypto space is much larger than inside of the crypto space. And so laying that foundation now, again, a year ago, I might have had some, I don't want to call them, they're not moral or ethical. They're just like some ethos things I might have pushed back on just because, the whole crypto purist thing. But I think these days this is a really smart move. And I like that they're planning out the gate to go after this market instead of planning out the gate to go after the market that everyone else is going after, right? So they're addressing the market that's being largely underserved, even though it's a market that's orders of magnitude larger than the crypto market. And I do want to stress that, like, I haven't really gotten into the consensus mechanism or anything like that, but you look at other chains that have done very, very well. Like you look at Avalanche, and they have their subnets, and you've got Polygon that has supernets, right? So you do have the ability for Web2 companies to come in and deploy their own chain on those chains. However, I don't know that they have the pliability, I would say, that it appears that they're going to have with Devve, and they sure as hell don't have the API capability. And remind me, Roger, to try and pick the brain of the Devve team on that API so I speak a little bit more intelligently next time we're on a spaces about it. But these are the things that really fire me up. And I don't think this is going to be perfectly frank, I don't think this is going to be like an overnight home run tomorrow. I think it's something that these guys are going to need to build. They're going to need to put a foundation in place so that the house stands for, as they put it, generations to come, right? That's what I heard in the YouTube video the other day. We're building something that will outlast us. And that's something that sounds really good to a guy like me. So
yes, another point of view into Devio and Devi, or let's just call it Devi. And by the way, guys, this is very important, okay? For you to know, We're not part of the team members. This is something that we decided to do from the investor side, okay? So everything we say here is just our opinions, is what we see, okay? What we understand with the experience that we have since, I mean, even though crypto is young, but like me personally, I've been in crypto for 7 years. And I know you, Austin, you've been in crypto long enough too. You were involved in a lot of successful projects. So we decided to do this because somehow it's our opinion as investors. Sometimes you hear, videos or lives from YouTubers or influencers that somehow they are getting paid to do it, which is fine. Everyone's allowed to make a living. But sometimes you have a different point of view, right? So this is I'll say it's more open. We can talk about other things. We can talk about price speculation. We can kind of guess what's going to happen in the future with Devve. So back to the conversation. The way I see Devve, this is a whole ecosystem. Okay, the way I see it is, Devve is building an ecosystem, a place where you're going to have a marketplace. You're going to have a launchpad. You're going to have your own wallet. You have a blockchain. They're involved in ESG, which, by the way, by 2030 is going to be a $40 trillion industry. And then, for those that know, it has to do with the environment. And they do have a sister company out there that is involved with those things. And I'm pretty sure there'll be a connection later. Who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens. And then, the tier one exchange that they're building. Let's talk a little bit about that. I'm very excited about that exchange because you have a one stop. You got one company doing everything, where you don't have to, have a wallet here, use the blockchain here. You're going to have everything in one place. So this tier one exchange, and I'm going to call it tier one because the way they're building this, it's going to have licenses all over the world. Again, just like we mentioned earlier on the mistakes that the blockchains made early, talking about all those other blockchains. Look what happened to Solana, look what happened to Ethereum, and the list goes on and on. And the same thing with exchanges. There's been a lot of problems out there with exchanges. You had FTX, and then even Binance right now got in trouble. Coinbase getting in trouble. Why? Because back then, no one really cared about regulation. No one believed that this was coming. But now it's a different game. So, Devve is building a blockchain that is gonna benefit from all those mistakes. And here you're gonna have, think about a new project. If you're launching a new project, why would you go somewhere else? Why would you build, on, let's say, Ethereum, and then you're gonna launch it on another a pre-sale launch? Well, you can do it with us. You build your project using our ecosystem, and then you can launch it with us. You get listed on the exchange. The benefits that those will be given to the users. It would be very nice to see benefits for the users of the exchange. Like right now, for example, you use Coinbase, the fees are insane. Number one. Number two, you don't really get nothing back. So why not incentive the users? Why don't incentive the influencers? Which some exchanges have like a referral program, which works pretty well. But I think Devve exchange is gonna blow the whole space away. It's gonna have the best referral program out there for influencers, where they're gonna literally advertise the exchange for free. They're gonna go to their channels and I said, listen guys, stop using what you're using right now. You stop using Binance and stop using Coinbase. Let's just go to Devve, and then, literally gasless. I mean, if you look at the fees that all these other exchanges and then compare with what Devi is going to charge, it's literally like you're going to be trading for free. I mean, it's going to be
Roger,
very,
do
very
you mind
simple.
if I jump in here real quick?
Go ahead.
I have to go in a couple minutes. All I really want to say is, you know, the crypto space is full of a lot of fluff. I think we can all agree with that, and I've been guilty of that in the past. And it has come and it's bit me in the ass. Financially, professionally, it's bit me in a lot of places. And the promises that Debbie is intimating, I'll put it that way, are very big, right? And so I think anytime that we talk about such a big vision project like this, it should really be prefaced with assuming the team delivers, right? And that's what a lot of this hinges on. There's a lot of, you talked about a couple of pain points there, Roger, but those aren't, in my personal opinion, like pain points to adoption. Pain points to adoption are probably ones that we're not seeing in the crypto space. They're ones that live undercover that are happening from institutions at a very high level, and they're just not stuff that we're going to be privy to. If you research the Debbie team, you're going to know, and most people on here probably have if you're listening to this, you know that these guys are some players, and that they've been working on this. This isn't something that they just slapped together in an ICO over the last 6 months, right? They've been building this for years. And so assuming the team delivers, and if they even get a base hit in the field that they're trying to play in, it's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And for me, that was a big, big selling point. And I took a big position in Debbie because I believe in what these guys are building. And unfortunately, I do have to jet. But Roger, thank you so much.
Hey, Austin, thank you. Thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it. We need to get together one of these days, man, and grab a drink. I mean, literally, we never met in person, but we live like what, an hour away?
Not too far.
Yes.
Not too far, man. We definitely will.
Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. So, like I said, guys, this is a whole new game right now. We talk about financial institutions. How will they decide which way they're going to go if they're going to start using blockchain? I mean, will they build their own blockchain? IBM tried to do it, I think, and it wasn't very successful. This is like, telling the Russian people, which we love Russia, we love the United States, we love China, we love the whole world. I mean, crypto is a whole family, But think about the US dollar, okay? If you bring US dollars to Russia right now, they might not like it, okay? Same thing here. You bring yuans to the United States and you try to do something with it, they might not like it. You're gonna have a hard time trying to interact with those currencies. But Bitcoin, it's global, right? So everyone likes Bitcoin. So if we talk a little bit and compare blockchains, okay, with something like I just mentioned, governments, corporations, and individuals will be better using a blockchain that is welcome everywhere, okay? And then you want it to be fast, you want it to be reliable, and then you want it to be affordable too. So this is what Devve is building. And we have a couple other guests. We have Mr. Diamond Hands. Are you there, my friend? Let me send him the invite again. We also have Oscar Rodriguez. Are you there, Oscar?
Hey, Roger. Yes, thanks for having me.
Oscar Rodriguez, thanks for joining us. Oscar is another whale from the Devve community. Oscar, he is a computer engineer, graduated at University in New York with a couple of master degrees, going for his PhD in leadership. And then Oscar Rodriguez has a very, very interesting job. Can I mention it, Oscar, or we're not allowed to do it?
No, go for it. It's
Okay,
fine.
well, Oscar Rodriguez is the vice president of data analytics of Citigroup. And then tell us a little bit about why you invested in Devve and how long ago you learned about the project. Go ahead, Oscar.
Oh, thanks, Roger, for the nice introduction there. I've been in crypto. I think I heard you say you've been in it for 7, 8 years. I think you and I started right around the same time. And we've seen, a lot of great projects. We've even been a part of big projects, both of us. And when we came about to learn about Devve, we knew we had something special there. We knew that we had, not just because we are early investors, but because of the big grand scheme of things project behind it and the people behind it as well. I mean, I don't want to say I went all in on the project, but I invested a lot of money in this project because I believed in it back then. And I'm really excited about everything that they have developed so far. And when you look at the roadmap and everything that it entails, it really gets me going in terms of, not just investment, but what it's going to bring to the future. So you mentioned my position here at Citigroup. I'm a vice president of their data analytics department, and I have a team in India as well as here in the United States. And one of the things that we do there is we remediate the customer. And why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because banks have a big issue. One of those issues is, well, several issues, not just one, but one of those issues is they charge fees to customers that they're not supposed to charge, and then they get dinged by the government. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Citigroup recently started to code their own blockchain. They just can't figure it out. I'm not part of their team on the blockchain side, but when I look over at Devve, and I think you mentioned this, Roger. I mean, it's a dashboard with a wallet. It's got its own blockchain. It's the entire ecosystem that Devve is building here is so well equipped, especially with doing things the correct way, right? When it comes to governments and getting, cleared to do things like that. Debbie is equipped to be the bank solution for crypto. And I'm really excited about that. I think there's so much opportunity to be able to build on the platform that they have. And this is just the beginning. So people listening in right now, you are so early on. Yeah, you were not part of the first staff, second staff, third staff of investors, but this is still so early on. It's really exciting for me to be able to be a part of this and speak in that regard.
But let's talk a little bit about SAFT one and SAFT two. Let's be realistic, guys. I mean, right now we're sitting at 50 cents. Come on. I mean, this is literally nothing. I mean, all-time highs was above $2. You buy right now, and let's talk a little bit about price. I like to speculate a little bit because think about this. I mean, right now we have a blockchain layer one, 8 million transactions per second, with a huge potential worldwide, sitting at a very, very small market cap. Okay, so let's be realistic. Let's just compare Solana. I think you did some study between Solana and Devi, and basically comparing market caps. And if you compare apples with apples, I mean, Devi wins with all the solutions that are on the table. So tell us a little bit about that study you did between the two of them.
So yeah, no, I'm big on data analytics. I mean, that's my department. And so one of the first things I did was I want to compare this project Devve to other layer one projects in the past. Now I know there's a lot of variables that jump in. You don't have to tell me, you would be preaching to the choir. But sure, Solana layer one, yes, it's different. Yes, it was a different time period. Yes, there was a lot of differences between the projects. And you know what? When you look at those differences, Devve wins by a long shot. So when you compare that, and let's just say they were similar for the sake of the example. When I looked at the chart for Solana for the first 2 months, it looked almost identical to Debbie. They came out to the market at around 40 cents. They were sold to the to the early investors at about 25 cents. And one interesting thing, and I think the thing that I want to really highlight here is that while it maintained its price between 50 cents to $1-ish, I think it was up to $1.30, very similar to Debbie during our first month. It hovered around that price for a few months, and then it just exploded with the bull run. And I mean, the sky really, literally, I think, Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that went up to 250.
You're talking about Solana?
Yeah, Solana.
We can check here real quick.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind, I'm not
Highest,
your
yes.
computer. But the example here again is the fact that it blew up so high, and I see Debbie going in that same route. So I love to speculate about it because I mean, again, I'm an early investor. I put in a lot of money in this project. That is the making of not just
All-time high was $259.
There you go. I was close.
And listen. I'm not making this up. You can go check it out right now. You know what the all-time low was? You want to guess?
For me, I
50 cents.
Yeah, it's the same
50
price we have
cents.
right now.
Unbelievable. It's literally the same price we have right now. Now, of course, different circulating supply, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But
Right.
listen, you're talking about a couple of $1 billion market cap project, okay? So, and then look, if you look at the history of Solana, when it first started, it didn't have much movement, right? It was very, very slow at the beginning.
Right, that's what I said. It was
Yes,
the
exactly.
same
And then I'm
price
going to
for
tell you,
many months.
in this, you got to understand something. Things take time, okay?
Right.
And then, but that's where the opportunity is, okay? You don't want to jump in on a project that is at all-time high or a couple of $1 billion market cap, which you most likely, if it's a good project, you'll still make a little bit of a profit, right? But you want to find those projects that are out there that are just getting started and they're building. But let's say something else. Even though Deie just launched not long ago, they've been working on this blockchain for a
For 10
while.
years.
Okay,
Yes.
and then they have go to their website and look at their team. Like the CEO, it's unbelievable. The potential, the connections, the networking that he has is huge. I'm pretty sure he's meeting with a lot of top companies out there. And let's just say something a little bit about that. Think about
Sure.
what I just mentioned no long ago. Devi with the solutions, with the transparency, following the rules, regulation we know is there already, is coming everywhere. So if you are a top company in the world, let's just say you're a top 10 companies in the world, and then you just mentioned it about Citigroup trying to build their own blockchain. It's complicated. So a lot of this enterprises, a lot of these governments, they're just gonna find a solution that is there where they can kind of modify it to their needs. And as you know, Devi, with the charts, you can literally customize what you need, and it's very flexible, and that you can adjust it to whatever your company needs to do. I mean, if you're a bank, you might have different needs than a government, right? So it's just a matter of times before one of these top 10 companies, start looking at Devve and say, what the heck? This is the way to do it. And then the other thing is, it's going to be a snowball effect, because if you're a big company, it only takes one big company to join Devve, and it's game over, guys. I'm telling you, that everyone else is going to follow, because what's going to happen is the price of Devve is going to increase so much that they're talking about institutions with billions, if it's not trillions of dollars. They're gonna jump in, they're gonna bite the hell out of Devve because they know what's coming. They already side with Bitcoin, that they missed the opportunity out there, and now they have something that I'm telling you is even better. I see Devve as a hybrid. You're talking about a blockchain that you can use it as Bitcoin if you want. You have the benefit of the blockchain. So it's just a matter of time before all these big corporations start jumping on board, and then governments realize how important the blockchain is. Go ahead, Oscar.
I think you hit the nail right on the head with that. If we speak a little bit about just the technology, alone, and I think you mentioned it, just to give me a little bit of credibility here, I do have a master's degree in management information systems and big data, and I'm currently taking my doctorate in, it's actually a doctorate, it's not just a PhD, so it takes a little longer to complete a doctoral degree in business and technology and leadership. So from that perspective, what I'm seeing here, and I think this is what you're trying to say with that, Roger, is the scalability of Devi, which is the big thing in technology. You don't want to have a project completed, and by the time you're done, the technology has left you behind because it has evolved into the new thing. Um, Devi has such a nice technology. It's so robust, to keep it in layman's terms, that it can be scaled to the needs of just about any business, if not any, honestly. So that's an issue that Citigroup actually just encountered. They built their crypto blockchain system, and it just was not robust. It had many errors, it had many issues. They were not able to launch anything in it. And I saw it, I'm in here, and I see it. And so Debbie, on the other hand, has something that, I will repeat the word, is scalable. So it can be customized to the word that you were using earlier, Roger, customized to the needs of the corporation that is going to use it. So I see a big opportunity here in terms
So
of
who knows?
how,
Maybe one day we'll see Citigroup as a customer, right?
yeah, maybe. But you know what I would rather have, Roger? I would rather Deie become its own bank.
Well, that's another thing that I want to talk about it. But before we move ahead with that subject, I want to welcome and thank you, Oscar. Thanks for your time.
Sure.
I want to invite Mr. Diamond Hands, very good friend of mine. He's been around the crypto space for a while. He's actually a big supporter of Luna Classic, and actually his account, CC from Binance and the co-founder of Binance follows him as well. And then I guess that they, believes that the work that he's doing in the space is very important. So, Mr. Diamond Hands, welcome to our chat.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me, Roger. It's always a pleasure. How are you doing this morning?
Very good, my friend. Very good. Doing good. Very excited about Devi and the future of blockchain, my friend.
Gosh, how many years ago has it been since you and I were talking about Devve? It's been at least, I think the first time you talked to me about it was probably about 3 years ago.
Yes. I got in contact with Devi, I think about probably a little more than that. And I had the opportunity to interact with Tom Anderson for many times. And then I really like what he done in the past. The fact that he sold software to Facebook, and then he has experience in gaming, and and putting together Devi as a blockchain, and what Litcraft too, which is a play to earn video game that is already out there. You can actually play it, and they're gonna be launching their Fiat token pretty soon. So yes, we've been talking for a while about Devi. What do you think?
Well, look, the cool thing about this, my friend, is that your passion has not changed, even if it's been 3 or 4 years. The same type of energy that you brought back then is the same type of energy that you're bringing today. And I want the audience to understand something very, very clearly. Just me listening to what you guys were discussing just a few moments ago about regulations, right? About following the rules. Guys, whether you like it or not, and there are some in crypto who are anonymous, there are some people who like non-KYC things, and they like to keep about themselves in a private way. Unfortunately, those days are coming to a close, and that's just the harsh reality. And Roger, you really did a very good job explaining, the seriousness just of what happened last week with CZ. Somebody as large as Binance, the former CEO, right, going through the motions with the SEC. Now, it was unfortunate, but it happened, right? And thankfully, it was only 4 months. It could have been a whole lot worse. But I want people to understand that it's not a matter of if regs are coming. It's when they are. And they're going to be happening here in the United States probably within the next 1 to 2 years. And the companies that are getting in front of this and establishing their legitimacy and their transparency and honesty, those are the ones that big tech and big corporations are going to go to. I mean, they're not going to throw hundreds of millions or billions of dollars at something that they've not done their homework on. Now, like you said, if you had invested in Bitcoin, 9 years ago when it was at $200, you'd be in pretty good shape right now. Well, guess what? We don't have a time machine, and we can no longer go back in time and force ourselves to purchase Bitcoin. That ship has sailed. So now what companies are doing is they are looking for that next opportunity, that next Bitcoin killer, or that next Ethereum killer. They're looking for that opportunity because it took that long for them to understand what crypto was. In the beginning, it was, uncharted waters. I mean, yes, it was the Wild Wild West, but people didn't understand it. They thought it was fake computer money. They thought that only criminals used it. We all know that's not true now. You have big banks that are using it. You have venture capitalists that are using it.
And Mr. Diamond, now that you mentioned that, it's important that Devi is full transparent. I mean, if someone's saying that about blockchain and crypto, all you have to tell them is go ahead and take a look at Devi. Look at Devi. Devi, know your customer, so it's like opening a bank account, right? You got to give your information. So that's exactly what they're doing. So they cannot say that with us.
Exactly, and that's something that's going to be very, very important moving into the years ahead, because know your customer is going to be required. And I know some people are not too happy about that, but it's the way the world works, folks. You have to adapt to the times, right?
Yeah, well, I'm actually I'm about to read the post that Cece what he said after he was I guess for the 4 months he's gonna be away. And there's check this out. It says our industry has entered a new phase. Compliance is super important.
Yep, I saw that too.
Yeah, you're talking about the biggest. I mean, you have probably Satoshi Nakamoto, which is probably the biggest name in crypto. And then I believe CC is probably number two, or at least is right there on the top 5.
Well, if you're gonna talk about people that are real, that that he's number one.
Yes, and he's saying that compliance is super important. Exactly what Devve is doing, guys. Come on.
That's where we are.
Tell that to Ethereum.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I love Vitalik Buterin. I think he's a very smart guy, but there's a lack of leadership on Ethereum, right? That's the way I see it. I was at an event no long ago in Honduras at Eat Latam, and then this guy was there on a Zoom call, and I just couldn't believe, the leader of the second largest blockchain, the way he presented himself, the way he talked to the community, the way, and I mean, everyone's feel to dress the way they want, but you have to understand that you got to give the importance of the event. Okay, so I believe what we have here is a group of leaders that are building something strong. Continue, Mr. Diamond Hands.
No, I mean, but I was just checking out some data as well, because Oscar, I mean, kind of like you, my friend, I like to look at the numbers. I like to look at data, and I'm just looking at, the whole history. And I've been a big CC fan for many, many years. I mean, I've read his blogs, I've followed him on social media, and I'm just looking at his story. And guys, if you haven't researched, check things out, I really encourage you this weekend, find some time, find a quiet place, and actually do your homework on it. In just a short amount of time, we're talking, like 7 or 8 years, this gentleman went from nothing to billions. Okay, I think today he's worth approximately $43 billion. He is the most successful, wealthy individual to actually be incarcerated in the United States, which I personally, in my opinion, think is not the right thing. But hey, it's to everybody's own opinion. But having said that, it just goes to show you the amount of possibilities that are in this space. From going to knowing nothing about Bitcoin to playing poker with your buddies one evening, to reading Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, to in just 7 or 8 short years being worth $43 billion. Now that's saying something, now isn't it? Now, like you said, Roger, there are some things about some lead developers in crypto that are questionable, such as wearing pajama pants to a function. But hey, when you're worth billions of dollars, I guess you can dress however you want to dress. It just depends on the individual. But I'm right there with you.
But I'm going to tell you this, Mr. Diamond Hands. You're right to a certain community, and I'm not criticizing him, okay? But think about a government or a Fortune 500 company.
Oh,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you want a leader that represents your company, and that has to do not just with the technology and with the knowledge and with your background, but it's everything. And I mean, I'm just saying, that's just a small comment about it.
Well, look at all the time on X here recently, just within the last 6 months, and everybody probably is aware of who I'm talking about, but President Bukele of El Salvador. I mean, I love watching him go live on social media, whether he's addressing the nation, whether he is discussing a topic. He is always dressed to impress. He is always 100% serious, and he is going to leave a mark in society that is going to echo throughout the years. I mean, he is literally doing a fantastic job down there. I can't wait for development on Bitcoin City. And you guys definitely need to find more information out about El Salvador and what they're going to be doing in the next couple of years. But I agree. You have to, put your best foot forward. You have to dress to impress. You have to look the part. And you have to be able to showcase 24/7, 365 of what it means to be legitimate, and not only to your investors, but to the world, right? That's very, very important. And, going back to what we were talking about as far as, rules and regulations, I'm telling you guys, I can't stress this enough. I mean, I know we had fun in the last 5 or 6 years with, meme coins launching, anybody and their mother being able to launch something on these blockchains. But I'm telling you, the governments are here. The three-letter agencies are watching, and I'm telling you, they're really starting to put a clamp down on on some of these individuals. And you mentioned it earlier, Roger, about Yee, the co-founder of Binance. She just put out, I think about 15 minutes ago, she's addressing scamming, on the blockchain. And she basically is giving a warning to people. Look, Binance can only freeze assets. So if you've been, here's an alpha for you. If you've been scammed on the blockchain, okay, you clicked a link, you gave money to somebody who appeared to be a celebrity or whatever, and they took your money and ran. You only have a 24-hour window. So say they send it to Binance. You've got 24 hours, right, for them to freeze it. But you've got to have a police report. You've got to report this stuff to the authorities if you want them to assist you in blocking these assets. Now, one thing I like about Devve, right, in this blockchain, is that they are basically positioning themselves to follow compliance, to be fast, efficient, cheap gas fees, but also data protection, safety and security. That's also something that I like about this and that I have for many, many years, because it's not a matter of if people mess up and goof up. It's a matter of when they do. We're all human. We've all made mistakes. I've been scammed in the past with cryptocurrency, and it sucks. There's no way
How about sending funds to the wrong wallets?
Exactly.
And you see, that's another thing that Devi has on their blockchain is you can literally it's easier for you to recuperate your funds if you make a mistake. Remember, everyone using Devi has to do KYC. If you open a wallet, you have to do KYC. So scammers are literally just going to stay away from that. It's like, when you have pets control at your house, you spray your pets control once a month, and all the bugs are outside your house. They don't come inside your house. So Devi literally is going to be your house, and all the scammers are going to stay away. They're going to be out because they know they're not going to be able to scam you. And then you're not going to have all those funny contracts coming out there, trying to duplicate new launches, and then people they're doing rock pools. That's not going to happen. And if you don't understand this potential, guys, compared with what's out there, and if you're listening right now, is because you're either an investor or you are thinking about investing. And then we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back 6 months later and gonna say, "Listen, guys, we were talking about Devi at 50 cents." And then who knows what the price is going to be at.
To be 100% scam proof is unbelievable. That just brings me as an investor comfort to know that there are going to be no projects that are going to pull the rug. There are going to be no projects that are going to be a scam, that I have 100% certainty that my money, whether it's $10, $1,000, 10,000, 100, whatever the amount I'm going to invest in any project in Debbie in the future, is going to be legit. That gives me peace of mind. To an investor, that is priceless. Another thing, to be able to I think what you guys mentioned is, I've been guilty of this myself. I have at some point sent crypto to the wrong wallet, or made a mistake, or whatever it is, and to not be able to recoup those funds is heartbreaking. And so it happens to the best of us. But to have that certainty also that you can somehow recoup that back, it's huge. This is a game changer, Roger.
I agree. And just like you said earlier, who knows in the future, Debbie might be a global crypto bank, right? If you're gonna have, all the projects that are out there, once the tier one exchange launches, they're all gonna want to be there, okay? And anyone out there launching a new project as well, they want to use their launchpad. And now the benefits for the stakers, I really like that. That's huge, and we talked about it earlier. But I'm very excited about it. And I think, Oscar, you're one of the whales that went ahead and went all in on this, right?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't want to say all in, but yeah, as close as you can say to all in.
So you did start for 9 months?
Oh yeah, on the staking. Oh yeah, on the staking, I went 9 months, and everything that I have so far, I I put it all in. I'm not even thinking twice
Perfect.
about it.
I don't
The
blame
moment
you.
it came live, I said all in, man.
I don't blame
So,
you.
because again, I believe in this. I've been in this for a long time. It's, since the early
Yeah.
investing period, that was over 2 years ago. What's 9 months? Even that kind of surprised me, and I said, I'll take it.
I agree. I agree. The other thing is, if you look at the CoinGecko, or you can go to CoinMarketCap, but look and see that Devi is only listed in only a few exchanges. And as you know, once this is start getting listed on other exchanges, and of course our own exchange, every time there's a news coming out, you're gonna see some price action. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's a really really good opportunity right now. And then the other thing I do want to talk about it is the fact that Devi is actually very close to a company that is working with the environment, the ESG sentiment. You're talking about a $40 trillion market cap by the end of 2030. And then for those that are not familiar with something like this, it's the environmental, social, I can't remember the last part. I'll have to look it up real quick. But basically, what they're doing is they are connecting a service that is out there, a product or whatever you want to call it, that has to do with the environment. For those that know carbon credits, your impact in the environment. Like everyone here, every time you turn the lights on your house, you're having an impact in the environment. Okay, and then a lot of big companies like airlines, oil companies, they buy carbon credits to reduce their footprint. I don't think they neutralize it to zero, but they do their effort, to protect the environment. But something like this doesn't exist at the level, for example, of a small business or as a house. So the way I see in the near future, think about Devi giving utility to reduce the carbon, the environmental impact for smaller businesses or small corporations, where you can have a chart where it says, okay, this amount of electronics, appliances, or whatever equals to this amount of impact, and you can reduce it just by buying Devi and maybe burning it and buying this carbon credits to their, connections that they have. And why do you think this is important? Well, think about everything happening around the globe. The global warming, which some people think is bullshit, but again, it doesn't matter. We do need to be responsible for our planet. And if you have the option to go to a business that it is responsible and they're taking care of the environment, you as a consumer will probably make the decision to go to that restaurant or to use the service of that company. Just like the Michelin stars, when you decide to go to a Michelin star restaurant, is because they follow certain rules, certain standards, and then it's a certification, let's just call it like that. That is not easy to get because you're doing your part, right, in the ecosystem of restaurants. Well, if you have a restaurant or a business that it is reducing their impact in the globe, most likely you're gonna get that attraction. It's like going to Google and watch and read the reviews for a business, right? So I think this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry that in the near future we might see something like that coming. I mean, right now I'm just guessing and looking and thinking about what the possibilities are. So are you guys worried about the future of the environment, guys? Mr. D?
I mean, me personally, I believe that there are people around the globe that are bringing more attention to it, which I think is important. I mean, obviously, if we didn't take any precautions to protect our planet, then we would definitely be taking years off of our lifespan, including the future generations as we know it. And, that's one thing I do like about this project is they are putting that as one of their major concepts to try and just make the planet safer and better. I mean, going back to what I said earlier about the president of El Salvador, President Bukele, that's
Which,
something
by the
else.
way, our company Avenida Crypto is registered in El Salvador. If you know that already, but I just want to let you guys know we are actually part of a company called Avenida Crypto, which we are legally registered in El Salvador, and we seen everything that's happening down there and the potential that Latin America offers, especially for a blockchain like this. Ethereum Foundation, they do one event every year in a different country in Latin America, and they do it in Asia and I believe in the U.S. as well. Why? Because they're trying to promote their blockchain, and then pretty soon I see that happening with Devi. Going around Latin America and other regions, promoting the blockchain. Doing hackathons and then connecting with developers and engineers and corporations and governments. So yeah, definitely. It's El Salvador is making a big impact in the crypto space and the environmental as well.
Well, I was looking at something just while everybody else was talking, and again, I'm a numbers guy, and I was actually going back to, the day I was getting married, and Bitcoin was trading at $113 a coin. And like I told you earlier, us as a human race, even though I love us, I love humans, we're great. We're very deviant, greedy creatures. And for those people now that are looking at the charts, and Bitcoin, everybody's saying we're dumping, and it's at 4%, 3 to 4%, fluctuations, and people say we're crashing. It's hilarious to me still. But today, Bitcoin is at what, roughly $59,000. So again, going back to my argument of being the lovely, deviant, greedy creatures that we are, there are going to be people out there right now listening to our voices, probably, or somewhere in a major city, whether it's Tokyo or Hong Kong or Wall Street or Los Angeles, that are very wealthy, successful individuals. They're going to be a little bit salty because they are going to say, gosh almighty, why didn't I just buy 20 grand worth? Why didn't I buy 50 grand worth, 5 grand worth, 2 grand worth? I really messed up. I really screwed up. So what are they going to do? They're going to rush to this market now, and they're going to look for that next opportunity. They're going to look for that next Bitcoin, that next Ethereum, that next Doge, that next shift, that next Floki. Because why? They missed the boat, and now they want to get in on the action. Now, having said that, you also have to take into consideration what we talked about this morning. You have to talk about safety, security, scalability, fast, efficient, environment friendly. These are sort of the things that the major corporations and major investors are going to be looking towards. If I'm a big money boy, okay, and I'm worth millions, or I'm worth billions, say I'm a VC hedge fund manager, okay, I'm not going to go and put big money, I mean big money. I'm not going to put that in something that I've not done my homework on, or something that seems a little bit fishy. I'm going to know every single thing I can about the asset before I go all in, as Oscar has, right? Because at the end of the day, it is risk, guys. There is always risk in cryptocurrency. But when there's individuals that at the starting point are telling you, look, here's all the things we're doing. We're doing the KYC. We've done it to where if you accidentally send your assets to the wrong address, we can help recuperate those for you. We're fast, we're efficient, we're environmentally friendly. We have a KYC team. I mean, these are the sort of things, and now with all the rules and regulations coming, people are definitely probably going to start looking at these blockchains where they're going to be following the
Well,
rules.
also, Diamond Head, you're going to have a migration of investors. Let's think about this. Let's analyze this for a little bit. Because of regulation, a lot of these projects are going to start getting attacked. Like even Ethereum right now is being attacked. And who knows what else is coming down the road. And then you're going to have people that is in crypto, they're not just going to quit. They're not going to say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to sell and I'm going to go back to my US dollars. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. If they sell a project, they're just going to say, well, where do I go next? And then, okay, the problem here is regulation on one side. So why don't I find a project that is following the rules, right? So that's where Dev is going to come in place.
Hey, Roger, real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Yeah, sorry, I'm running late to my next meeting, but hopefully you guys are still on and I'll jump back on. But I want to piggyback off before I go to what Mr. Diamond just said. You mentioned something very interesting. You said On your wedding day, crypto, Bitcoin was roughly around $113 or so. Now, I know you're not saying that you should not have gotten married and you should have instead been buying Bitcoin, but I think the premise of that is in my case as well. Like I know when I first learned about Bitcoin, it was around $50 to $100. I didn't buy it back then. I bought it around $2,000, and I made some good money when it went up to 10,000, and then it went back down to 3,500. Bought some more, made some other good money when it went back up to 20,000. But overall, to summarize, what I was missing back when I first started investing in crypto 7 or 8 years ago was someone with more experience, someone that knew what they were talking about, someone that had done their homework and saying, this is where you should be investing, or this is a good project, or hey, look, I've done my homework, I've done my research, I have this many years of experience, and I've done so many projects. I failed at some, I've succeeded in others, but with all the data that I have looked at, this right here, guys, this is a good project. If I would have had that 7, 8 years ago,
And listen,
I,
listen.
the sky's the limit. And this is what we're doing right now with Debbie.
And
So I just want to throw my 2 cents there, with all the experience that I have, all the studies that I've made. This is it, guys.
now, guys, you're getting this from someone that works for the largest bank in the world as a data analytics vice president. Okay? It's not Roger Triminio telling you. This is a guy that, you know, analyze data for a living. Okay? That has been in crypto long enough to understand how this is playing out. And so I'm telling you, I like it.
But what I tell my team in India and the team here in the United States is, guys, I've done my part in letting you know about it. Now it's your decision. I got to drop, but I'll be back.
Hey, thank you, Oscar. Thanks for your time, my friend. And Diamond Hands, we have Mr. Bleaves. I don't know if you're available to speak, my friend. Thanks for joining us. And I'm excited, man. I'm very excited about this. You know, you guys talking about when Bitcoin was below $200. You know, when Ethereum was, I remember seeing Ethereum at, I don't know, $30. But I'm going to tell you a story real quick. I bought Chainlink at 60 cents and sold it at 95 cents. Okay. I bought Quant Network at 192 and sold it at 212. I mean, Chainlink went to $50 and Quant Network went above $400. So we all learn from our experiences, guys. And then we're here right now as Devve investors because we have the experience to understand where Devve is going. Okay? And it's not going to happen tomorrow, but I'm telling you, it's coming. If I was you right now, I will do a full research on Devve. Take your time. Turn Netflix off for a second. You're talking about the biggest opportunity or your lifetime. And I'm not kidding, guys. This is coming from someone that made 1,000x on a project in the past. And you know what that project was? It was a launch pad. The opportunities on that launch pad is going to be insane. You're going to have the opportunity to buy first at projects that are going to have full KYC, full KYB, and they're going to be transparent. Right now, you're talking about Fias. Fias is coming at a $200 market cap. $200 market, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's less than 250, but I'm telling you guys, the opportunities on Devve is gonna be insane. Low market cap, low supply. Are you there? Are you there, Mr. Bleeps?
I think he's listening right now, Roger. But while we're waiting for him to come up, if he can, I just want to kind of emphasize, what you talked about. I mean, even when I first came into crypto, we didn't have X spaces, Twitter spaces. We didn't have just the ability to listen to OGs, get into a space together, have a roundtable discussion, and talk about their travels, their tribulations, their mistakes, or their wins. That wasn't available to me. And I would have given anything. I would have paid a subscription a month somebody came to me and said, no, hey, we're going to make it to where, you pay $50 a month, $100 a month. We'll make it to where you can actually listen into some of these phone calls of people who have been in this market, years and years and years, just to hear their alpha. I'd be like, well, heck yeah, man, I want to learn this. And I go back and tell people my journey with cryptocurrency. I'll never forget it the first day that I was even trying to buy my first crypto. I physically could not do it. And I've got a college degree. My wife's got her doctorate, and we're sitting there around this kitchen table. And I'm like, how do I buy this token? It's not working. It's not making sense. And literally at the end of the day, I had to go to Reddit, of all places, and ask, does anybody know what I'm doing wrong? And they're like, bro, what's your slippage? And I'm like, what's slippage? And I always laugh at that because probably the person giving me that answer was probably a 16-year-old kid. Right? But that just goes to show you how crazy this space is and how profitable and how volatile it can be. Right? I mean, you just heard Roger say right there, he's already made 1,000. And I think, Roger, you got in on SHIB on the beginning too, didn't you? Or like the first little bit of Shiba Inu when it first launched? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna tell you a funny story about Shiba Inu. I was very lucky I got in a couple of weeks before it got listed on Binance. And then, it's funny because I always wanted to buy a Ferrari, but when I started making a lot of money in crypto, I bought a lot of real estate. So, but I always wanted a Ferrari. And then I remember when Shiba Inu was listed on Binance, I made $1.5 million on that investment. So I went ahead and bought me a Ferrari.
There you go. There you go. So I mean, like that just goes to show you guys that all it takes in this space is just one play. Literally, it's just one play that can change your life forever and take you from one tax bracket to the next, change your background, change your family tree. I mean,
that's what the launchpad's gonna play a good role. I'm telling you.
Well, let me ask you this, Roger. So when it comes to these plays, okay, and we're talking about all these because I know this is what people are on. This is the question that's on their mind right now. Okay, because if I was a listener, I'd be asking this. What do you look for when it comes to a project? And, you're telling people to do their research, ask the questions. What are some of the things, in your opinion, that really stand out about a project that makes you go, okay, this is bullish. This right here is what I want. I'm buying this. I've done my homework, and this is it for me. What are some of the main takeaways?
The first thing I take a look is the team. Okay, what's the team behind? What's their experience? What's their background? Okay. Number two, if I can get into a project that has a working product, that's better. Which I understand sometimes, launch pads, they're there to raise money to build something. But if you can get on a project that is already built, that has a very strong team, of course, every new project, that is out there is most likely is going to have a small market cap. And then the other thing is I look at their competition. Okay, what are this project doing better against their competition? Or if it's something that is innovation, something new, it's never been done before, what are the possibilities of making it big? And based on that, I decide where to invest. And I'm telling you something too. In the last few months, we've seen a lot of crazy movements in crypto. Okay, even Devve, when it first came out, it went above $2. Right now, we're hovering almost to 60 cents, which is literally, even though it already launched, well, you're already there in the middle of a nice correction, where a lot of those original investors decided to leave with peanuts in their hand, because why would you sell Devve at $2 if you can sell it at $1,000? And you might think I'm crazy saying $1,000, but let's be realistic. Remember when those pizzas were bought for 10,000 bitcoins, and then no one thought that Bitcoin was gonna get to $1,000, and it did. Okay, it's a different era. It's a different situation. Blockchain in crypto is evolving. And what we have here with Devve is we have a hybrid. We have something that work as Bitcoin and work as a blockchain, but better. And you combine it together with regulation. I mean, you have 1,000x in front of your hands right now. In front of your eyes, you have 1,000x, and you're gonna come to me 2 years later, 3 years later, you're gonna say, Roger, thank you. Or if you don't get involved, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, and I'm being realistic, guys. We done it before. I mean, this is not that okay. These guys are just coming out of the blue talking bullshit. No, we made millions in crypto, guys. In the last bull run, we made millions, and we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it better, and we're gonna stay with Devve for a long time. Think about those that got in Ethereum at 40 cents. What was the pre-sale on Ethereum? Was it 44 cents? I can't even remember.
It was something around that mark.
So imagine those that bought at those prices, or even the ones that bought at $1 or $2 or $10, and they still hold. Do you think they care if Ethereum goes down $20, if it goes $100? They don't give a shit because they bought it at $2. They still have millions at their disposal. So you want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy saying, "Oh, I bought Devve at $1 and I sold it at $1.20." You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that says, "I bought fucking Devve at 60 cents and I hold it and now it's worth $1,000." That's the guy you want to be.
Check this out, Roger. So I have an associate of my dad's, and he was one of those guys that purchased Bitcoin back in the day when he was in the cents. Okay. And I think he bought like either 5 or 10 grand worth of Bitcoin, and it went to 50 cents. Okay. He lost his mind. Now, taking into consideration, that's still a big fat chunk of change. He did very well, but he sold out completely. He said, I got too nervous, I got too scared, I flipped my wig, and I sold it all. I dumped my bags. Okay. He literally talked to my dad not too long ago, and he said, there's not a day that goes by. I'm talking not a day that goes by where I literally look at myself in the mirror and I go, you literally could have been a billionaire. You absolutely could have been a billionaire if you had just taken the time to look at what you had and just say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to hold on to this thing and see what it does. And guys, I hate to say that, but sometimes that's what it takes. It takes time. How long has it been?
Take guns.
And guts. Listen, it took 15 years. I think we're on year, 15 for Bitcoin? It's still, after 15 years, trying to gain respect. And it's at $59,000 a coin. People are still calling it a Ponzi on national television. Jim Cramer is still talking crap about it. Squawk Box is still talking crap about it. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and say this publicly. I think it's freaking hilarious that people like Larry Fink of BlackRock are now changing their tune when just 3 years ago, they literally were calling Bitcoin a Ponzi, a joke. People like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, who's now no longer with us.
Hey, Diamond, quick question. Is BlackRock one of the top 3 companies in the world?
Oh, absolutely. They're also
okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Go ahead.
They're also the top holder of Bitcoin as well. But let me tell you something, guys. Here's the really scary part. Okay. 15 years ago, yes, Bitcoin at the time, in the year 2010 or 2009, 2009 when it was created, at the time of its inception, at that point in history, yes, it was the King Dong Daddy. It was the fastest. It was unlike anything anybody has ever witnessed before in their entire existence. It was the cutting edge technology. It is now the year 2024. It is not 2009. And it really pains me to say this, and I'm sorry, Bitcoin maxis. I really do. I apologize. I'm just being honest. Okay? There are different cryptos that are faster, more efficient, more scalable than Bitcoin. I know for a fact. I own quite a few of them. Bitcoin is slow. Now look, I get it. It's the sun. It's the center of our universe. It dictates the market. I get it. For now. But listen to me. You will witness one day, you mark my words, you will witness another crypto go super parabolic, and it probably will be an L1 blockchain. because of the turning of the tide, the rules and regulations. All the VCs are piling in right now to Bitcoin. You know why? Because it took them 15 freaking years to figure out that Bitcoin wasn't a Ponzi, and they've gobbled it all up. But hey, in the next 5 to 10 years, they may get tired of it and they may go to a different asset. And please don't sit there and tell me that's not true. Don't listen to the Michael Saylor crap. Michael Saylor is feeding you that garbage because he's the largest whale of Bitcoin, folks. He was telling people to leverage their homes back at the top of the last cycle. I would know. I was there listening to it. Now, I'm telling you this because of two reasons. Number one, I love crypto. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. Okay? I'm passionate about it. But the second reason I'm telling you is I was just like you one time. At one point in my life, I knew nothing about crypto. I owned nothing. Zero. I was working full-time as a police officer in the United States, barely getting by. My wife came to me one day and said, you need to find ways to make extra income. We're not making it. And so I said, okay, you got it. And I started looking at ways to try and make some extra income, and I came across cryptocurrency because it was showing people making crazy amounts of cash. And who would have guessed that just in 3 years, folks, I no longer work for law enforcement. I work from home. I've made enough money to have my family comfortable for the rest of their lives. And you know how I was able to do that? Number one is by talking to people like Roger. But number two was researching these assets and figuring out their use case and utilities. CZ Binance said it best. Create something that people will use. And he said, if you want to be king in crypto, you treat your users like God. That is the secret sauce. And so far, that's exactly what I've seen from Devve. And I'm telling you, I've got my eyeball on this one. I've got my bags packed on it. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of years with this blockchain because they're already positioning themselves the right way. But Roger, that's it for me, man.
Very good, my friend. Very good. Yeah. I'm getting ready to wrap this up, and I'm gonna give my final thoughts. And I want to thank everyone for joining this space. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. And Ray or Quintana, our CEO, was here earlier. I really appreciate him joining us and listening to us, even though he wasn't a speaker. And but here's my thing. Here's my final opinion about Devve. We are sitting here on the biggest opportunity of our lives. And one day, you're gonna listen to this audio right now, to this 10-second audio right now, and then you're gonna realize that I was right. It's like that pizza that got sold for 10,000 Bitcoins. This is your pizza time. This is your moment to change your life, to change your generation, to achieve financial freedom. It's Devve time. Thank you very much for joining. See you guys next time.